people will pay for the assurance that you'll get the job done. So if there's a generalist, they're asking for $2,000 to do some project, but you can come in at 6, but you've got like this breadth of experience, you can charge double, 3 times what someone else can.
In order for you to move 2 times and 3 times and 10 times faster to where you're trying to go, you need to find.
If you can't sell, you're fucked. So it looks different for everyone. And I came from a sales background and I was like, I'm not going to sell people. When I actually leaned into it, it was the biggest fucking game changer. If you've got products and services, you need to be aware of what the market wants, not what you think they need and what the market's asking for. So if you want to scale up and you want to do 10, 20K months, you need to start.
Welcome to the Creative Grid, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs who are hungry to have more impact, make more money, and become successful in every area of life. I'm your host, Nelson, and your journey to mastering life and business begins in 3, 2, 1. All right, fam, welcome back to another episode of the Creative Grid podcast. As you can tell, we have a new studio, which I'm extremely excited to show you the journey and how this set is going to be evolving to become the #1 podcast studio in Australia and then worldwide. Today is a very exciting day. It's actually Sunday, almost noon, and I was in a mastermind over the weekend with top level video business owners, and 2 of my boys came from Melbourne to it, and I was like, shit, I should have scheduled podcasts with them. I should have asked them how far. And then I asked them late last night on Saturday. I'm like, boys, so what time are you leaving? And they're like, oh, in the afternoon. We need to record some podcasts. And that's what we're doing here because we care about providing you with all the value, all the tools, and all the things that I wish I knew early in my journey. So creatives, videographers, video business owners can basically accelerate their journey to success. So today, I'm extremely excited to share the story of the CEO and founder of Mango Media, a video production business based in Melbourne that specializes in creating content for trades and construction businesses. Please welcome the legend, the one, Mr. Ed Wisher.
That's the biggest hype up I've ever got in my life. That's so good. Thanks,
you know
man.
how we do things, bro,
at
the highest level.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks for coming, bro. I know that, we have gone through a lot of stuff over the weekend, and by you and our next guest making the time to come in, and also like, you boys didn't even think of it, which is what I love so much, because I was like, oh, fuck, I know they're going to be tired. They have a flight. And you boys, as soon as I said it, let's do it. I was like, yeah, this is the kind of tribe that I want to have and be a part of. So thanks for being here and showing up such enthusiasm and energy. Let's get into it, brother. Tell us. I'm very curious to hear as well, because I haven't asked you this. How did you get into video? How did that start?
Pretty much I was traveling around through uni, going to Europe and all that sort of stuff. This is when Instagram first came out. And then I was looking at these photos I was taking on my shitty phone. And I was just like, I'm never going to look at these again. And then I was seeing all these beautiful travel photographers. And I was like, fuck, I need to get into photography. So I picked it up, learned pretty quickly that I couldn't be as good as them, like very quickly. So, but just loved the process, like fell absolutely in love with it. It was all I do, go to work, go home, like take sunset shots. I live in a really beautiful part of the world. So love landscape. And then I started a little like micro documentary series where I was very lost at the time in my life. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Finished uni. I was like, I don't really want to go into a career. I've got nothing I'm passionate about besides this. So I literally just started talking to people about like their life journey. And it was more or less for me now that I think about it, just to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe if I talk to a bunch of people, I'll be able to sort out what I'm doing. So it's sort of based around, it was called the Happiness Project. I literally talked about people like, what does it mean to be happy? And that quickly lent into like meaning. So then I started calling it Moments of Meaning, and that led into videography, where I'd sit down with someone. Probably it was like podcast style, but like with the video, but we were just on Instagram, and I'd just sit and talk about their life like for an hour, and I just sort of sit there and just listen. And like it was like an awesome experience, like absolutely awesome. So that was just like that. As soon as I got into video, I was like, fuck, this is incredible. This is so cool, building stories, and the whole process is so much cooler than just sitting there and like editing photos for me. And like I was just obsessed. And then eventually someone said, I'll pay you to do shit. And I was like, fuck, you can make money doing this. And then that was like, all right, this is going to be my career.
Isn't that such a surreal moment? Because it was the same exact for me. I wasn't too sure, but I knew I loved the video aspect of things. I was so into YouTube. I realized I don't want to be a dentist. I just want to pursue this crazy thing of making videos. And suddenly, when you get that one person that comes to you, hey, mate, how much you charge for this? You're like, holy shit, I'm going to get paid for this.
And I look back at it and I was like, I look at the rates I was getting then and I was like, that's nothing. That's fuck all. But like at the time I was like, that's a full day's wage for like 2 hours work. I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah.
Like I was so excited.
How much did you charge for your first project and what was it?
I got so lucky, man. I got a cafe owner approached me. He's like, right off the bat, he's like, I'll give you $500 a week if you come in here every week.
No way.
And I was making about 650 after tax at the time. So I was like, fucking oath, like do what I love and then just take photos of like, and I was like, just got into it. I didn't realize at the time cafes were a shit business to do for, but like I got really lucky. I got really lucky that it was a successful cafe. And then, I just took photos, chatted shit, ate coffee drank coffee and ate food. And then I was laughing. So,
how long ago was this?
2017/2018, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So almost 8 years.
Yeah.
When exactly did Mango Media started?
It's only a year old. So it's 2023 was when I officially launched it. Coming out of COVID, I was like, I don't want to do the freelance thing. Like, I'm engaged, about to get married, and I was like, met her, and our relationship was through COVID. It was getting serious. I was like, I don't want to be like so consumed by the business I can't have a relationship. So I was like, I need to expand. And then from that, it was kind of natural. It was like, I don't want to be like Ed Wisher photography because then it's just everybody's going to expect me all the time. So I was like, I need to build an actual business here. And then, I just thought, why not give it a go with the creative stuff? So starter last year, 2023, I was like, launched Mango Media officially. But 2022, I was like, I need to like make some changes. And then, so it's been crazy. Like it's blown up as far as I'm concerned. It's been nuts.
That's one of the key moments as well that for me too, when I look back almost about 4 years ago, when I was like, I need to, this is way bigger than just myself. And this can be Nelson Ferreira, whatever films, or that's how it used to be in my head, which is very solo shooter, freelancer perspective. And then I was like, okay, this has to be its own entity, its own living thing. And through some, research and internal looking, I came up with Vibes Creative. But at that point, it really became like, okay, I'm not a freelancer. I'm a team. I just need to build it. Back then, you're envisioning all these things of how many people are gonna be involved. What the incredible things that we are going to accomplish together. But it is very scary, right? Like when you start also stepping out of that freelancer mode.
Oh God, yeah. Like it's been a really weird. Weird's probably not the right word. Like it just took such a mindset shift from me to be like, one, I don't have to do everything, and I need to stop stepping in and trying to fix everything, and then more like, how do I grow this as a business and actually make sure that it's healthy to the point where like I'm not doing everything, and ideally one day I don't have to be involved at all, and it'll still keep running because that's when you have a business. Otherwise, you got a job,
Yeah, you're not a business owner until your business can run without you in it, which is a really fucking cool place to get to. We're also at that stage too where I really don't have to be in it. And, our ops manager, our head of content can take over everything. And yes, it might not continue to grow at the same rate. We're not at that stage yet, but I can trust them that the business is not going to go under if I have to pull back for a second. And also, I'm not doing really any of the tasks that I used to do. I don't film, I don't edit, I don't, even the client communication, barely jump into that. I'm really just focused in a couple of areas of the business. How involved are you right now with your business?
Very involved. It's definitely shifted over the last month. Like I still do a lot of shooting, but that for me is like something I still really love, and that client connection is really important to me. But it's definitely, I think I was looking through my calendar the other day. I think I've edited like 2 videos this year. It's like editing I don't touch. Besides putting some finishing touches on them and quality control, I don't touch. The shooters as well, like they've started like settling into their roles where they can go out without me. So it's been like a big change to be like I'm in the office like way more than I'm out of the office, which is like really cool. Love it, but it's definitely been different. But I'm still heavily involved. Like if I left today, like I don't think it wouldn't last more than a month. I don't think. Like staff are amazing, but I still haven't probably given them the structure and the knowledge that they need to do the job properly. But that is something we're intentionally building out at the moment.
Yeah, and it just takes a little bit of time as well, and a lot of intention behind it, and a lot of systems and processes, SOPs, development for everyone to understand what they need to know and how to do it, and how to approach all the different scenarios that they could come across, right? So it's just something that it's gonna take a little while for us. Again, we're still far to where I pictured it could be, but it's really cool to see when you slowly were like, oh wow, I don't have to do that anymore. We have and someone that is elite already and doing it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Why Mango Media?
It's just I wasn't actually my idea, it was my fiance's idea. But the short version is my mum bought me a mango plushie. And it was just like I was doing videos through COVID just to keep myself busy, like still my brand. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to call this business? And like my biggest pet peeve is like when a camera, like an operator or like a camera business, like Shutter Productions or something like that. It's like some camera part and then like Productions Media or something like that. I'm like, it's just not a good business name for me. So I was like, I can't be like that. Can't be anything like that. Like strictly with the branding, I was like, no camera gear in it at all. But like this mango plushie had been in the background for like 100 videos that I was doing, like just talking. And I'm like, my fiance was like, what about Mango Media? I was like, fuck, that's actually really catchy. And then like, I just loved it, fell in love with it, and then sent the branding off, got a graphic designer involved, and they got that back. And I was like, fuck, that's it. Like, that's the one. And like, I'm obsessed with that brand. I love it so much. I'm so proud of it.
Dude, I love your branding and your name. Like I said, it's so catchy, it's so simple, it's so easy to remember, which is one of the things that I'm always looking for when I'm naming things and when we're naming podcasts with clients. One of the principles that we always bring to the table is keep it simple, easy to remember. Same for businesses. You know, that's always almost my approach to them. Now, why can you expand a little bit on your niche and what you guys do?
Yeah, cool. So if like I'll give you my pitch for the discovery call. We're a creative media agency so basically I'll say, put that to clients. If you don't know what a creative media agency is, we specialize in photography and videography. For construction clients, if you really want to niche it down, most of our clients are builders doing like 2 to 4 builds a year of $100 million plus, $1 million plus, like cost of build. Sort of thing. That's our niche. So the big thing that we've noticed in the industry is like they don't really have clarity around their brand. They don't know where they sit. There's a lot of guys that go like, oh, you know, I do, like if it's a carpenter, I do decks, pergolas, new builds, you know, extensions, renovations. It's like, mate, that's confusing. So like we get very clear about their brand, where they want to go with it, what they want to do, and then come up with content strategies to drive that. Yeah.
How much do you guys do for clients in terms of, are you guys just shooting? Are you helping with strategy? Are you distributing the content? How much do you guys do? Can you expand a little bit on?
So it depends what they do, but if you're like you want the full hands-off experience, we'll shoot, we'll come out, shoot, do all the content, ideation, all that sort of stuff, edit it up, post it to your socials for you. So essentially we are their marketing team. So if for them, it's like they don't really need the amount of content that most businesses need. For what we see in the industry at the moment, it's just about having consistency through your content, because the general public perception of building industry at the moment is it's a shit show, which is not the case with our clients. We work in that high-end space and they're all good operators. So they don't have the issues that a lot of the industry is dealing with. So for us, it's more about let's show up, be true to your brand, establish your brand for one, have some consistency, introduce your team. Like trust is probably the biggest thing that we go for with our clients, because there's just a complete lack of it across the general public with builders. So
why did you went for this specific niche out of everything that there is in the market? Why trades and construction?
So when I was going through Ayrton's course to figure out the niche and all that sort of stuff, I was like probably every creative. I was very nervous about like properly niching down. I just had like a big reflection about like who's been the best clients that I've worked for, like who's been like the cruisiest, who's actually like valued my opinion, like because I did everything wrong as a freelancer in terms of, like I got walked all over and like fucking a client would make the worst decision. I knew it. I'd be like, yep, cool, no worries about it. I'll make that change even though it's cringy as fuck. But I was like, who's been the ones that have been like totally respectful of me and my skill set, appreciated the work, and more than anything for me, it's important for me to know that I'm actually imparting value, not just saying we're going to do this, this, and this, be able to see that value come through with my clients. And when I thought about it, it was builders. I did work for a few builders across the years. And then like they were always so good and so like respectful of like, you're the professional, like you do it. I will trust you, and they'll give you that trust. And yeah, that was sort of just the sweet spot. And it's been like the most incredible industry to work in. Like they're just wicked dudes, and they're no bullshit too.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's no bullshit.
Yeah, there's no
creative.
fluff.
Yeah, and they're fun.
Yeah,
as well.
man.
A lot of them are fun.
Yeah.
You have an incredible understanding of your niche, which is, I believe, from what I've seen from you, is one of the biggest reasons of why you're being able to explode so quickly with your business, right? And beyond as well, obviously, the amount of years that you've been doing this, because Mango Media might be 1 year old, but you've been doing this for a long time now. So in terms of your niche, if someone out there is currently looking or dabbling into builders, constructions, what would you recommend to them in order to be successful in that niche? What are been some of the key learnings you have gotten from working so deeply with this specific industry?
If I was going to do anything, like if I could go back in time and talk to myself at the start of last year, I would say that, you know, they don't need the fluff. They just want to know what they're getting, what you're going to do. And then the biggest thing is like following up with it. The biggest feedback we've got from clients is like, it's so refreshing that it's just like, this is just what it is. Like when we give them the packages, like this is what you get. Because some agencies are like, you know, you get this, but there's this clause, and it's just confusing for them. So for us, it's like, we'll come out every month, we'll document your builds, you know, we can get to this many sites a month on this package. We'll put it out to your social media. It's just like straight up, that's it. Flat fee, there you go. You know, there's none of this like mixing and matching, and it's kind of like, yeah, you get this, but if this happens, it's going to be blah, 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 blah. Which I think for them, it's just like, they are the busiest people I've ever met in my life. Yeah. So if they know they can just have a professional there that'll handle it, and it's just like, this is everything you need to know and we'll do the rest, they fucking love it. Like they want to be involved. Like they'll do the groundwork. They'll sit through the like discovery calls. They'll do all that sort of stuff. They will review everything you send to them, but they're like, we really like blew up when I said it's completely hands-off experience. You don't need to do a thing. Like there's initial onboarding. That first month we'll be working closely with you, but after that I will be in contact with you as much as you want me to. Like if you don't want to fucking hear from me, and we got some guys that's like, just do the job, it's all good. You know, I've got 50 staff. I don't need like another person to talk to every day. They're fine. Yeah.
Completely agree with you. One of the things in which we've been able to be very successful over the last 12 months especially has been because of implementing that this is a completely done for you service. You literally don't have to do anything other than brainstorm every now and then with us on our game plan strategy calls kind of thing. That initial setup, of course, of everything for us to have access to your socials and so on. And then pretty much just show up in front of a camera and a microphone. We'll do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
That has been key to be able to basically get to where we are and where we're trying to go. I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of the main drivers to continue to grow. What has been the biggest challenge of working with your specific industry?
I think just coordinating everything. Like tradies are very time poor, and me being a small business owner, I don't exactly have like masses of time, and I'm not an organized person. I'm very much like a creative. I'm chaotic. Yeah. Like putting out fires and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think that's a good combination. So like I've got people in place now. It's like your job is just to follow up clients because they're busy. They get like 100 phone calls a day. So it's not just call once. You might have to call 3 times, or, you know, you're going to have to send 4 or 5 emails. But for me, it's like send the email and then like I'm going off to do an edit or I'm going on a shoot. And then all of a sudden it's 2 weeks later. I'm like, fuck, I haven't followed up. Yeah. So it's definitely been the coordinating thing. But beyond that, I've got no real complaints. Like that's not even a complaint. That's like, I should have recognized that early and put the systems in place to make that happen as part of the done for you thing, you know, and they're not annoyed ever by the fact that we follow up a lot. Like they really appreciate it. So for me, like getting over the thing, I was like, I don't want to annoy them as well. Just be like, you know, we're doing our job. We're just trying to do their job. And it's just how they operate. So for me, it's definitely like that learning curve of like, you need to be like on top of them all the time to like be able to deliver the packages that you promised you would, was probably the biggest like friction point with working with tradies for sure.
And that's where the longer you work with your specific niche, the easier it gets because you understand so clearly, like, oh, okay, I just have to be this clear when it comes to the onboarding. This is how the process is gonna go. I know what to expect as well in terms of communication and coordination of the shoots or meetings or anything, because you have worked with so many of them, right?
Yeah.
So the longer you stick to your one thing, the easier it becomes. That's one thing that
100%.
I've been finding out through sticking with podcasting. The longer we do it, the easier it gets.
That's the best thing about niching down.
Yes.
Is like, so Amelia, our shooter, our like head videographer, she came to a sales meeting with me. I was like, I just want you to see it.
Yeah.
And she was like blown away because there was like 4 people around this desk, right? We went into this boardroom and they're all just firing questions at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep. Like, she doesn't know I've had these questions like 100 times before.
Exactly.
But it was so funny because she gets out and she's like, you just like everything you had an answer for. But it's like, that's the thing about having like a niche and you've stuck to it. It's like, there's no curveballs. Like, I haven't really dealt with that before. Unless we're in some like very, like they're borderline out of the industry. There may be like an auxiliary service to it. But like, yeah, that's like where it says you can just get massive efficiencies in your business too.
Absolutely. And then you get that real authority level in your niche. Because you have an answer for everything. It's almost like, wow, these guys, they really are the thought leaders and industry experts. You know, they have an answer
100%.
for any questions that I have. And as a client as well, the experience is better because they really feel like you understand them and that you will have all the solutions that they've been looking for. So 100%, if you have a niche down, this is just your reminder that success is waiting for you to niche down before you can get there. Absolutely.
It's so true. And the way I've always thought about it when people like get nervous about niching down is like, you can charge so much more. And it's not just about the money, but it is like you can charge so much more because people will pay for the assurance that you'll get the job done. So if there's a generalist, they're asking for $2,000 to do some project, but you can come in at 6, but you've got like this breadth of experience. Like if they are confident you can do it, because these are business owners you're talking to. These aren't like people, like just general public. Like their goal is to finish the job. Like yes, budget can come into it. You can't come in and quote like 100 times someone else. But if their main concern is like, can this person do the job? So that's when you can have that experience. So like you can charge double, 3 times what someone else can, because it's just like what they want. And this is the feedback I get. And from that meeting, we got it. It's like they literally finished and said, you're the first person that's been straight up with us and been able to answer our questions. You know, they talked to other agencies with us, like before us and all that sort of stuff. So being in that niche, it's just you're way better at serving your clients, like phenomenally better because you understand what they need. Like so much better. And, you know, you shift out of this whole, like, I'm solving the problem of like delivering a video, which is not even a problem. The videos are a vehicle to solving their problem. But that's what a lot of creatives get stuck into. But when you go like, you just do your niche, you're so aware of their problems, you can be like, they're like, I've got X problem. Like, cool, here's this package. It is literally for that problem. And then they're just like, thank fucking Christ. Like there's not this going back and forth, quoting, all this sort of stuff. It's like, this is literally built out for you. And then like, as you know, man, it's like the easiest process for getting people on board ever. Like it's barely even selling at that point. It's literally just like, it's here, this is your problem, here's how we solve it. And here's 5 other people that have had the problem solved by us. So it's like,
here's what they have to say, the social proof on top of it. But like the easiness of the sales process, once you're always selling the same exact solution and system because it just works and you have done it that many times that is literally your everyday. This is what we do every day. How come anyone could think that they could do it better than us? And yes, we're going to put a premium price to it because we're the best at it, right? So like you said, it really commands higher prices, being able to niche down and stay long enough in that specific industry and target market, and understanding who's your ideal customers as well. I'm curious to hear from you your sales process, because it is quite different to what, you know, our mates and in the group do. You have you had to adapt to your customers, right, and your target market. So can you expand a little bit on usually how what's the sales process with them?
Tradies are like like I said, they're very no bullshit, and they just want to know, can you service what they need? And most of them that come to us, they literally have just got a cool job and they want to show it off. So that's usually the entry point. And what I found is they have a bit of a resistance to be like, oh, if they go like, I want to capture a job, and like, it sounds like you want to build your brand. They kind of just go like, no, I just want to capture my job. And then it's like they need to get that little taste of like, oh, this is working. People are talking about it. People said a lot of stuff about the photos and videos that they go like, oh, this is really cool. I'm like, yeah, like this is actually like part of a broader strategy that we've got for like all our clients. And then we can lean into that. Yeah. Like they're very much like task focused in terms of like, I want to just get this done and get it ticked off. And I think it's like the nature of their industry. Like we got to get to frame stage, you know, we got to get to lock up, all that sort of stuff. So they want to get things done. So when they're coming to you and going like, I want to capture this job, you know, you've just got to present them with a solution to be like, this is how we capture this job. Not let's go off on a side tangent and talk about your brand strategy and all that sort of stuff. Like we sort of have to bake that in the background and open up that conversation as we build that trust with them. But the point what I'm trying to get to is like originally my sales was this big pitch, you know, hour-long Zoom call, all this sort of stuff. And then I realized I didn't want to do Zoom calls. They don't want to be on, you know, they don't want to have to go into the office for an hour if they're not already going to be there. And they're not in the office. You know, they don't even, half of them don't have laptops. You know, they got a home computer, but they're in a site office.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know, they're trying to do a Zoom call and I'm trying to present to them and they're doing it on the phone. So they can't even see what the fuck I'm saying. So it's like just very much old school. They'd rather a phone call than a text. Like phone call is like basically phone call, text, email is their priority of like talking to people. And they very much respect the fact if you would just talk to them at their level in terms of like call them up, tell them what you've got to offer and then just go from there. They don't need fluff. They fucking hate it, you know? And I'm very much the same as that. I hate being sold to. Like I just want to know what you're going to do for me. And if I feel like it can solve my issue, cool, we'll go ahead. So I think I was like lucky there because like I was looking at the sales process and I was like, this isn't for me, but I'll give it a crack. And I learned pretty quickly. And like, I was very fortunate that a couple of the guys I signed on early, I asked for feedback and like, it was a bit long. Like I knew I was going to sign up with you after the first call. Like, so, you know, and a lot of them do just say, what do you recommend? Like, here's where we're at. What do you recommend?
Yep.
Like they're not marketing experts. They don't have a huge amount of experience with it. So they're coming to us for advice. And they're very much like, if I can break it down for them, like your website's shit. So we need to do a brand story. We need client testimonials. You know, you haven't updated your portfolio for 3 years. Like how many jobs can we get to? And I just walk them through that process. Like, cool, here's why we're going to do this. Cause you know, your customer journey is this, and this is how we're going to have all these touch points. And it's like a 15-minute conversation. And they're like, cool, sweet. Let's go for it. So it's like very condensed. But I also, on the flip side of that, I need to be hyper vigilant that we are getting all the information we need because I have signed up clients before getting very excited about the growth and they're like, cool, we want X package. And I haven't gone through at least a basic framework of that bigger sales conversation and understood what they really needed. And then like I ended up like just shitting the bed basically. Didn't service them. They weren't the right fit and all this sort of stuff. So it's good because you can feel really good about yourself. You'll have like a 20, 30K sales day, easy. And then, you know, but it doesn't mean that they're the right fit for you. So I need to be a little bit more vigilant to like, because they want to run before they can walk and be like, hold on, we need this stuff. Like I'm not going to take up all day, but I do need a few things from you before we know that we're the right fit. So it's a bit of a balancing act, but it's very bare bones compared to the other sales experience that I hear about.
And that what you say there is so crucial to understand at some point in your journey that yes, money is cool, getting clients is cool, but you don't want to get the bad clients. You don't want to get the wrong clients because they really can be an anchor for your growth, for the business. The overall experience can be trash. The overall feedback as well, they might tarnish your reputation just because you took the wrong person because you were too needy of the money. The quicker you can get out of that zone of, fuck, I really need to get some clients. We're struggling. We need some money. The quicker you can get to that too. Hey, we don't really need it. We're here to serve you, but we don't need you. You know, we're like, here's the solutions. Here's how we could help. But if you're not the right fit, you're out. We don't need to continue this conversation. And also, like, we're really there to serve you, but we don't really need you as a client, right? When you can get to that sweet spot in which really all your intentions come from servicing at the highest level, how can I provide so much value to you on this call, even if we're not the right fit? How can I, if we do seem like we're vibing and, you know, this could go somewhere and we could partner and help you achieve your goals, how can we do that at the highest level? Always keeping your best interest at hand. When you can get to that place, man, the growth of your business, 2x, 3x, 4x.
Yeah, it's
because you're not coming
exponential.
from a place of need, and you also don't take the wrong people that are going to slow you
And they
down.
bog down your business so much.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
The amount of drag that they cause, while, yeah, you might make a 5K sale, they will cost you like tens of thousands of dollars in operational drag in the long run.
It's not worth the money. That's what you learn the hard way, and you could even be in the position where you're gonna have to do some refunds, which honestly,
Yeah, I do that a few times, which is a bit of a hit to the ego for sure.
yeah, absolutely, and then until you hit that rock bottom, you then can look back and say like, "Ugh, I can see how that was a bad fit. I shouldn't have taken that client." What's the worst client you have taken? What happened?
I'm not going to name names. It honestly wasn't their fault. Like it genuinely wasn't. It was 100% on me. And I do mean that. That's not some like scapegoat, you know, trying to be
I'm just going to add to that. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I keep telling the team all the time, extreme ownership.
Yeah.
If we take a bad client or the wrong client, it's not their fault. It's our fault. We took them in.
Yeah.
We opened the door
Yeah.
for them to come
Yeah.
into our world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For me, it was like, so we've got our biggest package for just content is about 16 grand. And basically I sold that, I think it was less than 3 minutes. But the problem was because I hadn't done, this is where I learned, like I still need to go through this sales process to a degree. I didn't really understand their business goals. I was just very excited. 15K sale, cool. After like getting that over the line, it was my biggest sales month to date by like a long shot. So I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then I realized pretty quickly that I didn't understand what they wanted or what they needed. They were just way too busy. Like they knew they needed something, but they hadn't actually considered what they needed. So they didn't know. So we're sitting there, you know, and they're getting frustrated with us because they, you know, why aren't things moving, but we're not getting what we need from them. And ultimately it was my fault for rushing it and just getting too excited by the growth. And then it was just one of those things I just had to refund the money. So they actually asked for a refund. Yeah. So that was a big hit. That wasn't even me calling it and being like, yeah, I fucked up. They said, I want a refund. I was like, I just couldn't, there's no like clap back I could have, like, yeah, fuck this. So I just said, I'm really sorry. This isn't the experience we want to have, but you're completely right. We dropped the ball on this one and refunded them the money. So yeah, it's like, that was probably the worst one for sure.
And I like that you're sharing that, because then people might be hearing, especially if there's people early in their journey and they might be hearing the kind of numbers that you're being able to make or achieve. They're like, fuck, how do you get there and all this stuff? And they don't understand that for you to get to this point, you had to go through so much bullshit and overcome so many obstacles and making so many mistakes and refunds and all these things to be able to get to where you are.
Yeah. And they stuff like that sucks. That really hits your ego. And like I can still like really remember the next sales calls I was doing that like my confidence was basically zero.
Yeah.
Like I was like back to square one in my sales process in terms of confidence levels.
And sometimes that's what we need.
Yeah, for
Sometimes
sure.
we need these bad moments and these things going wrong and things not going in our way to stop for a second and be like, okay, this cannot happen again.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Completely agree, man.
The reason why we're here is because you flew in for a mastermind that we put together this weekend, thanks to our boy Andrew that is in the background there. Thank you, my man. And essentially, yeah, we've been sharing our journeys, our issues, our wins over the weekend, just hanging out, really doing really cool stuff, morning, hangouts, workouts, ice bath, and a lot of deep work as well we have done over the weekend. What's your biggest takeaway after being on this mastermind with other 5, 6 high-level video business owners?
I don't really have one. Like I do have one for the business, but I don't really think that's going to be of value to a listener. What I would say is like get some good people on your level around you. Like the value that I get out of this is like absolutely ridiculous. Like even as a business owner, it can be a bit lonely. Like, everyone I interact with at this point is at a different stage in their journey. And I don't know, besides the guys that we've interacted with this weekend and this crew, I don't know that many people around our level. Like I really don't. So it can be really lonely. So just to be able to like interact with someone, and I made this comment last night, to see that we've all got such different strengths. Like you crush sales, like you absolutely crush it. Like I think we've all made the comment at one point, it's like, fuck, I wish I could like sell like Nelson does. Like, but you know, we've all got these different dynamics and strengths in our businesses. Whereas like, you know, Andy's like a fucking systems whiz. So I know if I need to do like in-depth systems, I can go to him and Ash and be like, what the fuck do I do? You know? I know like Ross is an incredible like storyteller, and like if I've ever got like talking head shit I need to do, I'm not good at that. So I can like, to be able to like dive into other people's like expertise like this, and to be like it's at that level and just talk to people, you know, because like you just mentioned in the last little bit we were talking about, you see like these successful people, and like probably people look at Mango and do that, but they don't see the stress. They don't see like the fuck ups. Like from the outside, everyone's like, Nelson's killing it. He's doing everything, and there's like, it's all up. But they don't see like the fucking massive days. They don't see the fact that like, you know, like you said, you hadn't been surfing for like 7 months, you know, you give up your passions and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, it's so nice to just be around people. It's like, whether it's like, yeah, shit's been really good, but like we've had these issues, or like shit has been slow for everyone recently, like with leads and all that sort of stuff. It's like so good to talk to people at the same level, because like the amount of knowledge that you can get, because essentially it's like, okay, well, I'm getting like 6 times my knowledge condensed into, you know, this group. So it's like and it's so refreshing to be like, I'm not a shit business owner. Like I'm just going through this journey, and like everyone else is experiencing it. So I think for me, like if I was going to say anything to anyone listening, is like get some people around you at your level that have the ambitions that you do to grow. Like you don't want to be near people that are like stifling you in terms of like they don't have the same goals in terms of growth, and like we all do. We're all getting like spaces and moving into the staffing world and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, especially my mate Ross said he's going to get one like next week, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, it's just like awesome to be around people. And if you were going to like take one, if I was going to like say anything to anyone, I was like, get a fucking group like this. Like it's the amount of like value that you get out of it. I've never, like I would honestly pay like 10 G's easy if I knew the value I was going to get out of like a weekend like this, like 10 grand easy. Like it's worth so much more than that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you that in order for you to move 2 times and 3 times and 10 times faster to where you're trying to go, you need to find a group of savages that are pretty much on the same alignment and thinking as big as you, because we're all thinking that, yes, we all have, you know, different wants and needs and whatever it is, but overall, it comes down to pretty much the same goals. We all want freedom. We all want to make multi-millions of dollars. Like it's that big that we're thinking. And the all weekend was really just talking about business, about, you know, the things that we're going through. Like there's so many things for us to talk about, and bouncing ideas from each other, brainstorming. We did the hot seat. So everyone gets, you know, 10 minutes to talk about in depth about a specific problem or something that they want to bring up to the table. And literally instantly, in seconds, you get real-time feedback from 5 different minds that are doing the same exact thing. And in our case, we even had 2 ops managers as well from our businesses in there too. So you get also 2 more different perspectives into it. So like you said, we're able to move way faster, adapt way faster. And another thing that we've been talking about is that we are competitors technically, but at the same time, we all have different levels of different niches, different target markets, different systems, expertise. So it's easier for us to not get on each other's way. And even if we are servicing the same exact market, we're helping each other so much. And the market is so big. There's plenty of business for everyone. Even if you were to jump into podcasting or vice versa, there's so many people to serve out there that there's just no any possibility of us really competing directly. Right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that by far, I completely agree with you. If you can find a group of people that are sharing or in a very similar journey to you, and you can partner with them and just all understand like, hey, we're in this together, right? And just sharing, we share everything. We share our numbers, we share our losses, we share the best things that have worked out. We literally keep no secrets on our group. And that's why we are able to move so efficiently and so fast and grow, experience the kind of growth that all in this room and the guys that are not here have been able to experience in such a short, compressed time. It's insane. If I were to look at this from an outside perspective, I'll be like, how the fuck are all these guys growing so fast, such big teams? They're all, like, literally, think of this. 6 months ago or 12 months ago, none of us had a studio.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? And we all have a studio.
Yeah.
No, like except for 1 or 2 that they're on the way to get it. We all have team members now. 12 months ago, it was just me and one of my guys, and now it's like 16 of us.
It's nuts.
Like, it's insane. And we've been doing this for 7, 8 years. Andy has been doing it for, I think 10 or something. Like, we've been in this for such a long time. But now at the rate that we can grow, is so much quicker because of all being together on the same journey and helping each other. I'm curious to hear, if you could go back and give your younger self, your younger creative self, 3 pieces of advice that will help him get to where you are now faster, what would they be?
Number 1, learn sales. Number 2, stop buying camera gear. Number 3, understand what your clients need and talk in, and this is probably more of a sales thing, but I just guess understand a market and provide them with what they need, not what you think's valuable, because that's 2 very different things. Yeah, that would probably be number one first and foremost. And creatives fucking hate this, but sales will be the biggest thing that'll grow your business. If you can't sell, you're fucked. Like, and I know a lot of the creatives I talk to is like, it's like a bit slimy to say like sales and all that, but there's not a single successful business in the world that doesn't do sales. So it looks different for everyone. And I came from a sales background and I was like, I'm not going to sell people. And then like when I actually leaned into it, it was the biggest fucking game changer. So number 1 is sales. 2, you probably don't need that bit of gear that you think is going to make the difference that it does.
You don't need that red camera.
Yeah.
What a terrible fucking investment.
Mr. G.
Yeah.
And then, just understand what your clients need and give them that. Don't try and provide what you think is valuable, because I think that's what a lot of creatives do. They're selling videos and photos, but that's not what your client wants. It's a vehicle to get there. So you got to understand what they need. And after you can get that and success for your clients, it'll be like you're playing on easy mode.
What's the biggest mistake that you have seen young creatives or most creatives make these days, knowing what you know now?
The big one that I probably see the most is not niching down, and I think the hesitancy to niche down is probably the biggest one. And I fully understand it because I was against it, because I had clients from all ranges of industries, and I can't be like, I'm not going to work with 70% of you. So I think it's so hard because it's the same as the gear conversation. You don't know until you're out the other side about how easy it makes your life. Like, or how much, you get the camera that you're fucking, for me, I put it on credit cards and all that. Yeah. And then I get it. I'm like, oh, I'm still a shit videographer. Yeah. Has nothing to do with that piece of gear.
It's not bringing money. I don't get it.
Yeah. So like for me, when I niched down, like how easy it was to have those conversations around like what they need and understanding what they need was like massive. And just to be like, basically tell them this is what you need from what you've told me, but you can't be an expert. And not that I'm an expert, have enough industry knowledge to be able to service clients well across like multiple different industries. You just can't. You don't have that much knowledge, and you can't go from like talking to builders to talking to professional services, like one sales call after another, and just be instant switch. It won't work. So yeah, you just got to niche down. It's terrifying. I understand it, because like you've diversified your portfolio for safety, but it is what's going to hold you back. Yeah.
I agree too. Niching down is one of the scariest things ever. I remember when I was making that decision, like, oh, what are we going to do? And podcasting was being the clear line of action for us. And I remember just even thinking of it. I'm like, oh, but what are we going to do? Every now and then when we get the weddings, when we get this, I still want to do some documentaries, brand stories, all this, blah, blah, blah. it was so hard and so scary of thinking, no, we're only gonna do this one thing. And now looking in retrospect, I was like, God damn it, what an idiot. Why did it took me so long to make that decision? You know, like now life, business, everything is so much easier once you commit to that one thing. And also work comes more to you. When people talk about attracting and all of that, the more you lean into one thing, that's when you really become a magnet for it, because your name starts being easy to remember and be recognizable across this industry. Because the podcasting guys, easy,
100%,
the construction dude, it's so much easier to talk about, and even in your marketing, in your content, because that's all people see. So you're instantly attract the right people, because if I'm looking for an expert in a specific thing and I go to your profile and all you do is talk about the one thing that I'm looking for, it's like, well, it's gonna be a no-brainer compared to every other option in the market, especially if I go to the website, which is the situation for most video companies and freelancers. They have a show reel showing everything: my skater boy, a fucking surfer, construction, a wedding. Oh, we did a podcast too. Chuck that in. It's like, dude, your message is not clear. A confused mind doesn't buy. Ed, it has been an honor, dude, to have you here on the Creative Grid. Thank you for making the time, for bringing the energy,
Thanks
the
for inviting
knowledge.
me,
We're
man.
going to have to do a second round, of course. We're only scratching the surface. But I would love for you to share any final thoughts on what could be helpful or beneficial to creatives listening to this and just thinking right now, like, how the fuck do I even get to that point that these guys are, getting studios, team, making this kind of money that I know when you're there, and this too. It sounds almost impossible. Like, how the fuck do I even get to 10 grand per month consistently? Like that. I remember being, earlier in the journey and just thinking, how the fuck do you even make this money? and now looking back, making 10 grand is the easiest thing ever, man.
Yeah, my business disappears if I'm making 10 grand.
Exactly.
I think I thought about this because I was thinking about following up with one of the things we said before with niching down and all that sort of stuff. On a macro level, that's about a mindset thing. That's a different mindset being a business owner versus a freelancer. So if you want to scale up and you want to do 10, 20K months, you need to start thinking like a business owner. Business owners don't think about the classic conversation was when Reels came out, right? Every creative I know was like, what the fuck? I'm not shooting vertically, blah, 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 blah. And the ones that leaned into it blew the fuck up, and now their businesses, they're laughing, right? So, but that was because the market had a need, and then they started servicing that need. And this is what I'm talking about when I say, if you've got products and services, you need to be aware of what the market wants, not what you think they need and what the market's asking for. So a lot of creatives go they need a, pretty video or whatever, but if the market's asking for 10 reels and you're trying to sell a brand story, you're not going to sell the brand story. So, and that comes from moving away from the creative perspective, which it probably has a lot of ego tied to it, and you being a business owner and being like, what do my clients need and want right now? Even if it's not what I want to do, even if it's not for me, my passion about content, you need to make that switch if you want to start making real money. Because at the end of the day, if you're not servicing what the market needs, no one's going to buy it for you. It doesn't matter how good your pitch deck is. If you get to the end, you say all the right things and you're like, cool, here's what it is, and it's the exact opposite of what they need, then they're not going to buy it. So shift your mindset if you want to go take that next level to being a business owner. And with that, it's going to challenge you a lot, a lot. So yeah, I'd probably just finish with that. If you want to make really good money as a creative, which you can, we have so much power in the marketplace right now. Everybody needs content all the time, and you can't do it. It's impossible as a business owner to do it. Just you need to shift into the business owner perspective and away from the freelancer creative sort of perspective.
Absolutely. And you and I have spoken about this because we're very similar in terms of our mindsets, right? We're doers. It's like you and I, when we went looking for coaching, we didn't need the mindset stuff. We already got that. Tell me the technical aspects. What do I do? And I'll go get it done. I don't need any of the fluff, any of that. I already got that. I'm hungry. Yeah. I'm ready to eat, and I'm gonna hunt. You tell me where do I need to go, and I will go and get it done, right? So, but you're absolutely right. Mindset it is the foundation to everything. And you need to switch it as quickly as you can if you want to make serious money, if you want to build a team, if you want to serve clients at the highest level. You need to dial in that mindset and be ready, because also being at this level, it's not for everyone, which is another whole conversation in itself. Like, the more I do this, the more I realize I can see why most people will never make it. It's too fucking hard. It's too fucking hard. You have to be too committed. Like you were saying before, we all in this room and everyone that was at our mastermind, we have all made enormous sacrifices to get to this position, to get to this place. And we're still far to where we're trying to go, right? Because we're thinking that big. But again, most people will die in the process, and most people will quit. That's the reality. If you're a quitter, man, don't even try. Don't even try. I'm telling you, you're going to give up. I have one of the most resilient iron minds in the game. And sometimes I have waken up, look at the fucking ceiling and just think, why am I doing this? Why am I putting all this amount of stress? Why am I going to all of this? Making 10 grand per month is easy. I don't need the team. I don't need a bunch of stuff. I can make it happen and clear most profit, and I'm going to be fine. Why am I going way past that? Why? So if I have had that, I can only imagine what's left for people that are not very strong-minded, or they don't have that mindset fully dialed in.
100%.
So, brother, it was a pleasure to find you here. What's next for Mango Media, and where can people find you and get in touch with you, support you, or inquire about your services?
Instagram's our best platform. That's where we're at most often. What's next is like, we're just growing, man. Like, we just got a lot of staff. So it's just like trying to nurture them, hope they understand the brand mission. And I think it's just, my big thing this year is just like slow growth, like steady, not biting off more than we can chew, make sure that the client experience is A grade is a big focus, but it's definitely like a culture push this year. Like, how do I get my staff to carry the Mango brand in a way that I think is authentic and true to us? So for me, it's just giving them everything that they need to do the job and love the job, because like passion is really infectious. So for us, it's just like keep growing the business and keep doing what we're doing and not lose that as we grow.
And Vibes will be here to support your journey as well for anything you need, my man.
I love it, man.
If you love this episode, make sure to give this man a follow. The links will be down below. Follow us across all social media platforms at The Creator Grid, at Creator Nelson, and I'll see you on the next episode. Good vibes for everyone. You. My goal for this podcast is to help 1 million creative entrepreneurs make more money, have more impact, and create their ultimate reality. The best way for you to support this mission is by sharing the podcast with anyone you think will find it valuable. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all social media platforms at The Creator Grid and at Creator Nelson. I will see you at the top.